Lyra sat inside a glowing cage, her knees pulled to her chest, her arms wrapped tightly around them. Her skin shimmered faintly in the low light. Her kind always did that when they were scared. She had heard stories, terrible stories. Stories about humans. They called them the Devourers. It was said humans came from a distant blue world and they didn't fight like other species. They didn't conquer for land or honor. They did it with machines, fire, and strange tactics that made even the strongest flee. And worst of all, they were said to eat their enemies. Lyra's people, the Serene, had surrendered. Their leader, hoping to gain favor with the Earth Army, had decided to send her as a gift, offered to a human soldier who had won many battles. She didn't even know his name. Now she sat there, waiting. The large steel door of the command tent opened, and cold air rushed in. 2 Serene guards entered first, heads lowered in shame. Behind them walked the human. He was tall, dressed in strange green clothing with pockets everywhere. A dark beard lined his jaw, and his eyes were sharp, too sharp. He glanced at the bow cage and frowned. "This is her?" he asked in English. The guards nodded silently. One of them motioned to a control panel. With a low hum, the bars of Lyra's cage faded. She didn't move. Maybe if she stayed very still, he would lose interest. Maybe he would decide not to eat her. The human stepped closer and squatted in front of her, careful to keep some distance. "My name's Adam," he said gently. "I don't know what lies they told you, but I'm not here to hurt you." Lyra didn't respond. She didn't even blink. Adam sighed and stood. He turned to the guards. "She's not a trophy. Take your politics and get out." "But," one guard began, confused. Adam raised his voice slightly. "Out." The Serene guards left in silence, exchanging quick glances. The door closed behind them, leaving Adam and Lyra alone. He turned back and scratched his head. "Okay, let's try this." He picked up a small container from a nearby table and opened it. Steam rose from inside. Food. It smelled strange, but not unpleasant. He placed it gently on the floor near her and stepped back. Lyra stared at it. She looked at him, then back at the food. Her hands trembled. Was this the moment? Was this how humans began their feast? But instead of attacking her, Adam sat down across the room, grabbed another container for himself, and started eating. He didn't even look at her. Minutes passed. Her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten since yesterday. Carefully, her fingers reached out and pulled the container closer. She sniffed it, then took a bite. It was warm. Strange, but not bad. Adam smiled when he saw her eat, but he didn't say anything. After a while, she looked up. Their eyes met. For a moment, she didn't see a monster. She saw something else. Maybe tiredness. Maybe sadness. Maybe kindness. "Lyra," she whispered softly. Adam tilted his head. "Lyra? That's your name?" She nodded slowly. He smiled. "Nice to meet you, Lyra." The moment was quiet, but something had changed. She was still afraid, but now there was something else. Curiosity. Later that night, Adam brought her a blanket and motioned to a soft bed near the wall. She stood up carefully and walked over, eyes wide with confusion. He wasn't chaining her. He wasn't yelling. He wasn't taking anything from her. He just gave her space to rest. Lyra lay down and pulled the blanket over her. She kept one eye open, watching him from across the tent. Adam had already settled into his own bed, arms behind his head staring at the ceiling. She didn't understand him. She didn't understand humans. But she was starting to think that maybe, just maybe, the stories were wrong. The morning light came slowly into the tent. Soft rays of the alien sun touched the worn canvas and made small patterns on the floor. Lyra woke up, blinking her glowing eyes, still unsure if she was safe. Last night had been strange but quiet. Across the room, Adam was already awake. He sat near a small fire pit, fumbling with something in his hands. Lyra watched him carefully. Her heart still raced with fear and questions. She did not know what he was doing, but it looked strange. He held a green plant, slicing it awkwardly with a shiny tool. The smell began to fill the room, an odd, fresh scent that made Lyra's stomach twist. Adam was not a soldier who moved with sharpness and power this morning. He looked clumsy, almost funny. Suddenly, the green plant slipped from his hands and fell into the fire. The flames crackled and made a small cloud of smoke. Adam coughed and waved his hand in front of his face. Lyra could not hold her breath. A small laugh escaped her lips. It was soft, almost like a secret. Adam stopped coughing and looked up. His eyes caught hers, and for a moment, the fierce soldier disappeared. Instead, there was a man who smiled awkwardly. "Guess I'm not good at this," he said, voice low but kind. Lyra smiled back shyly. For the first time, she felt a small thread of trust grow inside her. Adam looked at her with gentle eyes. "You hungry?" She nodded. He picked up a small bowl, filled it with something warm and colorful. He handed it to her carefully. "Try it," he said. Lyra took the bowl with both hands. The food smelled different, but not bad. She took a bite and chewed slowly. The taste was new, but her hunger made her want more. Adam ate from his own bowl, watching her with quiet interest. As they ate together, the silence between them became less heavy. Lyra's fear began to fade, replaced by curiosity. After breakfast, Adam stood and walked to the small window. He looked out at the dry land outside, thinking. Lyra took a step forward. "Why are you kind?" she asked softly. Adam turned to her and smiled. "Because not all humans are monsters," he said. "Some of us just want peace." Lyra looked down at her hands. She did not know if she could believe him yet, but his words were different from the stories she had heard. Days passed. Each morning, Adam cooked strange foods, often burning or spilling them, but always trying. Lyra taught him how to use the local plants safely. They shared stories, simple words at first, then small sentences. Lyra learned his name, Adam. Adam learned hers, Lyra. Slowly, the walls of fear between them cracked. One day, Adam showed Lyra a small wounded bird he had found outside. The bird had a broken wing. Lyra gasped. In her culture, caring for animals was a sacred duty. Adam gently cleaned the bird's wound and wrapped it with soft cloth. He looked at Lyra and nodded. "She will be okay," he said. Lyra smiled for the first time without fear. "Thank you, Adam," she whispered. Adam's eyes shone softly. "You're welcome." That night, Lyra lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. She thought about her world, her people, and the human beside her. Could someone who cared for a fragile bird also be someone she could trust? The idea felt strange but comforting. She closed her eyes, her heart still beating fast but no longer with terror. The camp was quiet early in the morning. The sun rose slowly over the dusty plains, painting the sky with soft pink and orange colors. Lyra stepped outside the tent, feeling the cool air on her glowing skin. She breathed deeply. For the first time in many days, she felt calm. Adam was already outside, standing near a small fire. He held a strange-looking vegetable she had never seen before. It was long and purple with a rough skin. "Want to help?" he asked, with a small smile. Lyra looked at the vegetable. She did not know what to do but nodded carefully. Adam handed her a small knife. "Cut it like this," he said, showing her how to slice. Lyra watched closely and tried to copy him. The knife was sharp and cold in her hand. She cut the vegetable into pieces and dropped them into a small pot over the fire. Adam laughed softly. "You're a quick learner." Lyra smiled shyly. She liked the sound of his laughter. It was warm and honest. But then, something unexpected happened. Adam reached for a bowl and tried to stir the boiling pot. He was not careful. Suddenly, a splash of hot liquid flew out and landed on his hand. "Ow!" he shouted, pulling his hand back quickly. Lyra gasped, worried. Adam looked at his hand, then laughed again. Guess I'm not good at this cooking thing. Lyra could not help herself. She laughed too. The sound came from deep inside her and surprised her. It was the first time she had laughed since she was captured. Adam looked at her with surprise. Hey, you laughed, that's good, right? Lyra nodded. Yes, good. The laughter made the tension between them disappear for a moment. It was like a small bridge between two worlds. After the food was ready, they sat down together to eat. The vegetable stew was different from what Lyra was used to, but it was warm and tasty. She felt safe eating beside Adam. They talked softly, sharing simple words and stories. Lyra told Adam about her home planet, a place full of glowing forests and soft winds. Adam told her about Earth, a blue planet with tall trees and wide oceans. Lyra listened with wide eyes, imagining the places she had never seen. That evening, as the stars filled the sky, Adam showed Lyra a small device. It was a tablet, glowing softly in the dark. He tapped the screen and showed her pictures of Earth, forests, mountains, oceans, and animals. Lyra touched the screen gently. Beautiful, she whispered. Adam smiled. Maybe one day you can visit. Lyra felt a strange hope growing inside her. The days passed, and Lyra and Adam grew closer. She began to understand that he was not the monster she had feared. He was kind, patient, and brave. One afternoon, while walking near the camp, they found a small injured animal, a creature with 4 legs and soft fur. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. She knelt beside the animal and gently touched its hurt leg. Adam helped her build a small splint from sticks and cloth. Together, they cared for the creature until it could walk again. Lyra looked at Adam and smiled. Thank you, she said quietly. Adam nodded. We take care of those who cannot care for themselves. Lyra thought about her own situation. She was a gift, a prisoner in a strange land. But here, beside Adam, she felt something she had not felt before: hope. One night, as they sat by the fire, Adam asked, Lyra, what do you fear most? Lyra thought for a moment. Being eaten, she said simply. Adam's eyes widened. Then, he laughed gently. Lyra, I promise you, humans do not eat other beings. We respect life. She looked at him, searching his face. Why did my people say otherwise? Fear can make stories grow, Adam said. But the truth is different. Lyra nodded slowly. She wanted to believe him. Maybe I can learn your truth, she said softly. Adam smiled. And maybe I can learn yours. That night, as Lyra lay under the stars, she felt a new feeling: trust. She thought about the human who had been given her as a gift, the soldier she had feared. But now she knew he was not a monster. He was something much more. He was her friend. Lyra had started to feel safer with Adam. She trusted him more each day. But her heart still carried fear from her past and from those she left behind. One quiet afternoon, as the sun sank low behind the hills, the camp received unexpected visitors. A small group of serene warriors, her own people, arrived, their faces hard and eyes full of anger. Lyra's stomach twisted. She had not seen them since she was taken from her home. Now they stood before her, demanding her return. We came for you, Lyra, their leader said firmly. You must leave with us. You belong with your people. Lyra looked at Adam, who stood quietly nearby. She felt torn. Could she leave the man who had shown her kindness? Or was she bound to her past? I cannot go, she said softly. The Serene looked shocked and angry. You have betrayed us, one said. You trust the enemy. Lyra's heart ached. She knew the stories her people told, that humans were cruel and dangerous. But Adam had shown her something else. Suddenly, voices rose around them. Tension filled the air like a storm. The Serene warriors demanded Lyra's return. Adam stepped forward. Lyra is free to choose, he said calmly. She will not be taken against her will. The Serene shouted back. accusing Adam of holding her prisoner. The situation grew worse quickly. Then, a warning shot echoed from the camp's edge. Both sides froze. Shots followed, and the quiet camp turned into chaos. Adam moved fast, pulling Lyra behind a barrier. "Stay close," he said. Lyra's heart pounded in her chest. The firefight was brief but fierce. Adam shielded Lyra with his body, standing between her and danger. When the fighting stopped, the Serene withdrew, but their words lingered. "You will regret this, Lyra." Adam helped Lyra to her feet. "Are you hurt?" he asked gently. She shook her head but felt shaken inside. "Why do they hate you?" she whispered. "They fear what they don't understand," Adam said. "Sometimes people fight because they are scared." Lyra looked at him, feeling warmth. In his words, "I am scared," she admitted. Adam smiled softly. "That is okay." That night, Lyra sat outside the tent, watching the stars blink in the dark sky. Adam joined her, offering a warm cup of tea. They talked quietly about home, family, and fear. Lyra shared stories of her people's glowing forests and peaceful lakes. Adam spoke of Earth's vast oceans and tall mountains. Though they were from different worlds, they found common ground in their hopes and dreams. For the first time, Lyra did not feel alone. Days passed and Lyra grew stronger, both in body and heart. She learned more about Adam's world and taught him about hers. They worked together to mend fences, fix equipment, and share meals. Their bond deepened beyond fear and duty. It became friendship. One afternoon, as they repaired a broken radio, Lyra paused and looked at Adam. "Will they come back?" she asked quietly. "Maybe," Adam replied. "But I will be here," she said firmly. "With you." Adam nodded, touched by her courage. "Together we can face anything." In the quiet moments, Lyra dreamed of peace. Between her people and the humans, between fear and trust. The journey ahead was uncertain, but she no longer walked it alone. With Adam by her side, hope began to grow in the shadow of the past. Camp was calm that morning, with soft sunlight spilling over the tents and warming the dusty ground. Lyra stood by the edge of the small clearing, looking toward the horizon. Her heart was heavy with thoughts. The days had passed slowly since the last visit from her people. Their angry faces and harsh words still echoed in her mind. Adam approached, quietly, carrying a small bowl of food. He smiled gently when he saw her standing there, lost in thought. "Good morning, Lyra," he said softly. "Did you sleep well?" Lyra nodded, but did not smile. "I think about leaving," she said quietly. "About going back to my people." Adam sat beside her. "You don't have to stay here," he said honestly. "If you want to go, I won't stop you." Lyra looked at him, surprised. "Why do you say that? I am your prisoner." Adam shook his head. "You are not. I never wanted you to be." For the first time since she arrived, Lyra felt the weight of choice in her hands. Not a gift, not a prisoner, a person free to decide. "I want to choose for myself," she said. Adam smiled, pleased. "Then the choice is yours." Later, Lyra packed a small bag with a few belongings. Her glowing pendant, a soft cloth from home, and some dried food. She looked around the camp with new eyes. This place was strange, but it had become a part of her story. Adam helped her prepare for the journey, explaining the safest paths and what dangers to avoid. "You are stronger than you know," he said. "Trust yourself." Lyra felt a strange warmth in his words. It was not just kindness, it was faith. As they walked together through the dusty trails beyond the camp, Lyra shared stories of her people's ancient traditions and peaceful ways. Adam listened carefully, eager to understand. In return, he told her about Earth's cities, its green fields, and vast oceans. He spoke of his family, his hopes for peace, and the promise of a better future. Their steps grew lighter with every shared word. That evening, they reached a small hill overlooking a river. The water sparkled under the moonlight. Lyra sat down, her glowing skin reflecting softly in the night. Adam handed her a cup of warm tea. "For strength," he said. Lyra smiled warmly. "Thank you, Adam." They sat in silence for a moment, watching the stars. Then, Lyra spoke softly. "I want to help, to build peace between our people." Adam nodded. "We can do that together." Her heart filled with hope and determination. The next days were busy. Lyra and Adam visited nearby villages and camps. Lyra translated for Adam, helping him understand the local customs and languages. She taught humans how to respect the land and the creatures that lived there. People started to listen. Slowly, walls of fear began to fall. Where once there was suspicion, now there was curiosity. Where once there was anger, now there was conversation. One afternoon, a group of serene elders came to meet Lyra. They were cautious but willing to talk. Lyra stood tall and spoke honestly about her journey, the fear she had felt, the kindness she had seen in Adam, and her hope for peace. The elders listened carefully. Their faces softened. They asked many questions, and Lyra answered with honesty. By the end of the meeting, the elders agreed to bring their people to the negotiating table. Adam watched proudly as Lyra took her first steps toward leadership, not as a prisoner, but as a voice for her people. The human soldier and the alien girl stood side by side, ready to face the challenges ahead. Together, they would build a new future. The morning sun shone brightly over the camp as Lyra and Adam prepared for the important day ahead. Today was not like other days. Today, people from both sides, humans and serene, would gather to talk, to listen, to try and build peace. Lyra stood tall, her glowing skin softly lighting the room. She wore a simple cloak gifted by Adam, a symbol of the bond they had formed. In her heart, she felt a mix of nervousness and hope. Adam approached, carrying a folder filled with notes and plans. "Are you ready?" he asked gently. Lyra nodded. More than ever. Together, they walked toward the meeting hall. The large tent was filled with humans and serene, their faces showing both curiosity and caution. The air was thick with the weight of history and the possibility of change. Lyra took a deep breath and stepped forward. She spoke clearly and with courage. "My people and I have lived in fear for too long," she began. "But I have learned that fear can be overcome by understanding." She looked at the humans in the room and then back to the serene elders. "We are different, but we share a desire for peace and safety." The room was quiet. People listened. Adam stood beside her, adding his voice to hers. "We are here to build a future together, not to fight each other." The talks continued for hours. Questions were asked. Concerns were raised. But through it all, Lyra and Adam remained calm and hopeful. Outside the tent, small groups of humans and serene talked and shared food. Some laughed softly, breaking the walls of suspicion. Lyra walked among them, her heart swelling with pride. She saw children from both sides playing together, sharing stories and smiles. It was a small but powerful sign of change. Days passed, and the peace talks grew stronger. Lyra became a trusted voice for her people, helping both sides understand each other's fears and hopes. Adam worked tirelessly, supporting her every step. Their friendship deepened into something more, a quiet respect and a shared dream. One evening, as the stars twinkled above, Adam and Lyra sat by the fire. "Do you think peace is possible?" Lyra asked softly. Adam looked at her with a smile. "I believe in us." She reached out and took his hand. It was a simple touch, but it spoke volumes. The peace they built was fragile but real. Leaders signed agreements. Borders were respected. Trade routes opened, and most importantly, people began to trust again. Lyra knew the road ahead would not be easy. There would be challenges and setbacks. But with Adam by her side, she felt ready. Together, they had changed the story. As the sun set on a hopeful world, Lyra looked toward the future. The morning light spilled gently over the diplomatic outpost. Flags of many species fluttered softly in the warm breeze. People moved quietly, preparing for a historic meeting, a gathering meant to unite two worlds. Lyra stood at the entrance, her glowing skin shining softly in the sunlight. She was no longer the frightened girl who had once been given as a gift. Today, she was a leader, a voice for her people and a bridge to another. Adam stood beside her, calm and steady as always. The doors opened, and representatives from both humans and Serene entered the hall. Eyes met, some curious, some wary. But all were ready to listen. Lyra took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Thank you for coming," she said clearly. "Today we begin a new chapter, not just for our peoples but for our shared future." She spoke about the journey from fear to understanding, about the courage to change and the hope to build peace. Her words were strong and kind. They touched hearts. Adam watched with pride as she spoke, not just with words but with the truth of her experience. After the speech, the talks moved into careful negotiations. There were moments of tension and moments of agreement. Lyra helped translate feelings, hopes, and fears between the two sides. Her voice was steady and honest. Hours passed, but no one left. Finally, leaders agreed on a treaty, one that promised respect, friendship, and cooperation. Cheers rose softly in the hall. Lyra smiled, tears shining in her eyes. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky with colors of hope. Lyra and Adam walked through the gardens of the outpost. Flowers from both Earth and Serene. Worlds bloomed side by side. Adam turned to her and said, "You have changed everything, Lyra. You showed us that fear can be replaced by trust." Lyra smiled. "I only had the courage because you believed in me." They stopped under a tree that glowed softly in the twilight. Adam took her hand gently. "Will you walk this path with me?" Lyra looked into his eyes and nodded. Together. The story of the alien girl and the human soldier became a symbol, proof that even in the darkest times hope can grow. Where once there was fear and suspicion, now there was friendship and promise. Lyra's journey showed that kindness and courage can build bridges between worlds, and as she stood beside Adam, she knew that the future was bright.